We're here at Digital Hollywood Spring 2013 with Anna Wilding with Carpe Diem Films. And tell us a little bit more about the company and what the focus is.
Hi. Well, I've been in the traditional media business, making feature films, feature documentaries, the odd bit of television, and cross-platform product. I think for about 15 years or so, Carpe Diem Films was set up to actually handle that multimedia aspect that we have these days. You know, storytelling. We're telling our stories off so many different devices and platforms these days. So this is a company that is set up to deal with that convergence of traditional Hollywood media storytelling and the new Hollywood storytelling.
Can you address how long has the company been in existence, what is its focus, and maybe talk about any projects that you may want to?
Our company's been in existence for about 8 years, and of course we've seen huge changes in traditional Hollywood even in those 8 years. So though we started out as a traditional motion picture company doing ads, music videos and feature films, we've now of course diverged into telling stories in a different way. We actually probably came out with a feature documentary that did very well both on the internet and in cinemas right at that convergence time. I think in about 2006, 2007, 2008 we really started to see Hollywood and the internet really merge, and Hollywood starting to use digital as a sales platform and a way to get our stories out. So the film I made, For the Wild, not only screened in cinemas, I managed to get into cinemas that screened for more than 60 days in about 3 different countries, but it was also at the start of this digital revolution. So it also showed on various internet channels, and we just did so incredibly well. And I was very lucky that my built-in following for my own brand as an actress, director or producer converted into sales, and we converted that into sales in DVD very quickly, and then we had to bring in other additional distributors, subdivision of Warner Brothers and other people came on board because we were doing very well. We'd done well in the cinema, and then with the aid of the internet we managed to sell a lot of DVDs as well.
So if that project was done maybe 5 years earlier, could you maybe kind of give a comparison to our viewers as to what could have happened to it versus what you were able to accomplish?
Actually, it's an interesting question that, because 5 years earlier, 7 years earlier, we had companies like Miramax, Fox Searchlight, New Line, Fine Line, all these companies that were very focused on distributing content like this feature documentary, which was kind of like, someone compared it to Super Size Me. It was a feature doc that did very well in cinema, but it was made by a female filmmaker, so it had that kind of whole angle happening as well. If it had been made 5 years earlier, it traditionally would have got what is called a limited platform release through someone like Miramax or New Line or Fine Line, and I would have been paid more money up front without question. I would have been looked after up front without question. However, my audience would have been far more limited than it is now. My film has played in countries from Afghanistan to Israel to India to Singapore to New York to New Zealand to Australia. The entire world's been given an opportunity to see my film now in a different format that they actually wouldn't have seen it before. So now I have a whole fan base or brand, base who is watching for my next project, and that base is from all over the world rather than just being from 1 or 2 territories. So I think that's fantastic.
We were just talking to someone who was National Geographic Film, which seems to be, we interviewed him, and he basically said that there's a real interesting thing going on in the industry with new platforms, and that films can now be distributed in multiple ways and to multiple countries. But clearly the revenues are not necessarily catching up. So what is it? But interestingly enough, somebody else we talked to said you can't really convert one film's campaign. The studio still believe that you couldn't convert one film's campaign to another. What you're saying is you developed a following where you feel like you can send the media down through this funnel and have it going to all of these countries, to all of these people, and they now know you, the filmmaker, or your film, and they may be watching your other media. Is that what you kind of expect?
I'm saying that. I don't think, and I actually had an article in Huffington Post a bit like this. I don't think content creators are being looked after by the internet channels. I don't think YouTube and all these channels are paying the content creators at all. I think it does need to be addressed, and it is a very serious issue. However, if you can build up a following for your work, and if you have the technical and creative skills, which I do think actually need to come from traditional media. You know, I'm a trained craft person. I've been working with the best directors and producers. I've learned my craft. This is not something that just happened and I picked up a camera. I know what I'm doing with that camera, and I know how to tell a story at its highest level. The film qualified for to go into the run-in for the Oscars one year as well. So I didn't just pick up a camera. If you know what you're doing, and if you know also how traditional media works, then I think you know how to sell DVDs and move projects that way and have money coming in that way. But no, it's not coming in from the web. I'm not getting money from digital streaming on the web. I've looked at that, I've tried. A lot of people have. At the end of the day, the money has come from selling DVDs, and people in India now being able to access my DVDs. Because I find most people, when they watch things on the web, they want to watch it for free. They don't want to pay to download a film for $2.99. And unless you're Tom Cruise and have the big numbers where you can guarantee 10 million people are going to download, you would pay $1.99. But the numbers aren't there. And I think you have to look at a way to merchandise and sell through the media and use it more as a marketing platform. Or a person. And this film it's kind of humanitarian-driven film, so it spread a lot of joy and happiness to communities. So it was a very uplifting piece for people to watch, and I was happy to share that uplifting piece.
And it's just wonderful to have a creatively built audience for creative projects that a creative community never really even had a chance to even dream about.
Well, and not only that, I'm in direct touch now with the people who watch my films. They email me in and tell me what they think, and that's fantastic. Before, we were always taught to keep everyone at an arm's distance and stay away, and suddenly we have our audience right in front of our faces talking to us on email and internet and saying, where can I watch this film? And oh my God, just the feedback's amazing. And to be able to touch people in such a positive way, if you make a positive thing content, it's just a joy. And I know that the people who follow me convert. And I know they buy my product. And I know that they like the style of product I do. And I think that's worth more than 10 million YouTube hits.
And isn't that perhaps why you decided to be in this business in the first place? Because you wanted to tell stories that touch people.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm very specific about the kind of stories I tell. I want to make a positive difference in people's lives. I don't care if it's a little 10-year-old boy sitting on the street, or it's a whole classroom, or a whole group of adults who just want to laugh. And this is a way for me to get in touch with my audience and tell the stories that they want to hear. And though some of these channels are slanted towards the youth generation, I think even the youth generation are looking for different kinds of stories. I had a distributor who picked up my film, traditional media distributor, and he said, the reason why I'm picking this up as well, Anna, is that my 18-year-old son only watches 2-minute YouTube clips and things like this. He watched your film and he was fascinated, and he watched the entire film for all 80 minutes. And that to me tells me that even the youth today, even though we sit at this conference and everyone says, oh, tweens only want this kind of information, I don't believe they do. I think if they have access to really good long-form content, they will watch it, because they are fascinated by some of these stories out there that they wouldn't get from just a guy falling off a skateboard and doing a very funny short video. But I think we're being limited perhaps a little bit by the men in suits about what kind of stories are getting out there, because I think if they really open their minds and really listen to their children, their girls and boys like this distributor did, they'll find that their kids are able to look at much different kind of level of content than what's being just given.
Thank you so much. This is what this conference is all about. It's about making this more of a level playing field for everyone, and then getting really quality content in front of audiences that want to consume it.
I agree, and I hope we see a content level that increases to yeah.
Enjoy your panel.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much.